Audio test. Audio test. Excellent. Ooh, I forgot a cable. BRB chat. Sorry. Sorry about that, chat. Not quite as prepared as I thought I was. Alright, now we're good to go. Alright, good evening everyone. My name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University and I'm a big D&T enthusiast. And tonight we're gonna stream some red-white taxes of some variety. So, last time around, I played like shit on stream. And I will totally own up to that. I was really tired, and I punted a D&T match in like 17 different ways. It was awful. I did some stupid stuff like trying to use a Leon Reliquary to get a Revoker off the table when my opponent had Mom, messed up some combat math. I did a lot of things wrong. Off stream yesterday, I salvaged that league, and I ran that one back 3-0. I got wins against Grixis, Delver, Burn, and Lands in order to finish positive for that league, luckily. But it was not good, so we're looking to not play like a scrub tonight. So here's what we played last time around. Sort of our flex slot here is this Vren Wingmare number 3. We've been debating a lot about what this last slot should be. There was some desire for it to be Restoration Angel, to like have another flyer in the deck and something that was good late game value against a lot of people. There was some desire to put the Mirror Crusader in the main deck. We talked about a lot of things, but I think I want to try the Wingmare again. I've been pretty impressed with the card recently. Ooh, we have a bunch of squiggles in chat. Alright, so confession, I don't actually know Japanese. I just watch a lot of anime. There is a slight difference there. So I don't have quite high enough weeb powers in order to read that. Although it might just be the regular sort of phonetical Japanese. Oh, you called me baka in your video title. Yeah, I did. That's about as far as I go. Like, I present at anime conventions. I watch a lot of anime. I can, you know, understand things when I hear it sometime. But that's about as far as I go, Scudo. I can't lie to you. Oh, I am not stupid. Well, sure showed me. Got me. But overall, I've been pretty happy with this shell. Not sure if the in-out numbers still work with the third Wingmare in. When I played against Delver, I noticed the spots were tight. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just kind of something to be aware of. Tonight I'm just going to jam. I just want to play a lot of Magic tonight. I started really early, and I think I'm probably going to squeeze in 2 leagues tonight, unless I, you know, fall asleep or my voice gets sore from talking too much. But that's the plan. So one of the other things that we were thinking about doing is playing the third Magus. But the problem about playing the third Magus is that, like, the more you put in the deck, the sooner you're going to draw it and be able to cast it. And sometimes that means that you won't have the basic source yet. Because, you know, we have 5 fetch lands plus the 3 planes. So we have 8 sources we can draw in order to have basic mana. And if we want to draw one of those 8 before turn 3 every game, we would really need to be playing more fetch lands than we are right now. I recognize this name. I've played against this player recently. Or maybe I haven't. I was watching someone else's stream and they were on. I'm going to keep this hand. I think my opponent was on Grixis Delver. It's either Grixis Delver or Dredge, I think. Dredge. Rats. Alright, so I have to make a decision right now about whether or not I want to get rid of this city, or whether I just want to keep the lands and, like, plan on playing this Stoneforge and just attacking them with that route. I kind of want to blow up the city in case they have something like a breakthrough in their hand or something like that, so they just don't go absolutely ham unless they have another land. I haven't gone over the maths yet, but is the third cavern actually better than the fourth port so far? Yes, I think so. Ugh, gross. My opponent will probably do lots of things on their turn, and I will be sad for most of them. Feel confirmed to Tsundere. I'm more of a yandere kind of guy myself, personally, but, you know, to each their own. So port versus cavern on a serious note. With all the... Is that it? Is that all that happened? Or is my opponent just attacking me and then Cabal therapying me? So, I've been really valuing mana consistency. Oh shit, my opponent named Brainstorm. Great. That's the rare occasion where somebody doesn't know who I am and, like, doesn't just, like, auto-name cards that are in my deck. So that was awesome. But we only get that value once. Anyway, back to the point for, like, the 4th time. Yeah, I've been really valuing mana consistency, and I've been focusing on making the cards in my deck easier to cast and more consistent to cast. And that cavern has done a good job in actually making that happen. It's also really hard to notice the present... the presence or absence of any one particular land in your deck. So, like, it's hard to say with 100% certainty, but I feel like it has been very good. So the good news is, my opponent's hand is garbage, and my opponent's graveyard is also relatively garbage. Alright, it's less garbage now, but, like, there's still no bridges there, so there's like, hope. I'll take that. So, like, there is some chance that I steal this. The graveyard being garbage, of course, being the most important part of that statement. So, if my opponent misses on more bridges this turn, like, we have a real chance. Especially if they let me trade my Revoker for their Icarid. Ooh, they miss on bridges. And no more, like, Narcomoebas or anything. Deal. So, unfortunately, our life total is under considerable duress here. So, my opponent has lethal on board in that when they return the Icarid, they have 6 power worth of stuff to cast, or to attack in with. So, like, I'm going to be obligated to make an attack this turn. Or, excuse me, to make a chump block this turn. Oh, no, that was an error. So, because of my Vren Wingmare, I can't actually cast this Batterskull next turn. So I might have to block with the Wingmare now and open my opponent up to casting spells. That was bad. Let the record show that I don't expect to win this game. Period. Alright, so there's one bridge in there. Alright, so what do I need to do? Opponent has no Cabal Therapies in graveyard. If I keep this Stoneforge around, then I don't need to crack the fetch in order to just put in the Batterskull. If I put in the Batterskull, I effectively gain 4 life, and I'll be able to, like, get rid of an Icarid attack as well. So I think I'm just going to block the thing that will deal me the most damage this turn. If I block the Icarid, I'll take 3. Next turn, I'm guaranteed to take 2 from Narcomoebas. Maybe I should just block the Narcomoeba on that front, but I can also just get rid of the zombie. No, I can't go to 2. If I go to 2, then the Narcomoebas kill me and the Batterskull doesn't matter. So I need to make this block. That's actually a great draw. So my opponent crashes in with everything here. I block Icarid. I gain 4, putting me to 7. And I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. So with the Swords to Plowshares on a different creature, I can get there. Actually, I guess I Swords the Icarid and block a Germ, since the Icarid can come back. I think this just worked out for us, chat. Because I can put this sword on this turn, gain 6, shoot my Stoneforge to remove their bridge. Huh. Huh. Am I winning? Oh, that bridge isn't great for me. Chat, we won. It's not like I wanted to win the game or anything. Baka. Yeah, I don't really know how that happened, but we did it. We won. And I think we were on the draw, too. Right? Yeah. So we won game 1 against Dredge, miraculously, on very narrow margins, when, for a turn or two, some of our lands were effectively shut off. Wow. That's not supposed to happen. Yeah, I'm so confused, too. I didn't do the math, but I kind of wonder if my opponent punted there at some point, and like they had the opportunity to like cast a Dread Return, and I wonder if they would have like Dread Returned a Stinkweed Imp on their last turn, like they would have traded their Dark Amoebas for zombies, and then they would have had something that could have blocked my Batterskull if like exactly that situation happened. So like, I wonder if my opponent punted. I'm not sure. I would like have to go back and look at the video, but like I was kind of thinking about that at the time. Do I bother trying to revoke the LEDs? Like, normally I keep them in, but just kind of looking at this, it seems like we have a lot of sideboard cards and a lot of, like, flex spots in the main deck that are already, like, pretty darn good against this deck. Jaceless Magic on Twitch? In 2018, post-ban? Yeah. It's possible that I just shave a land and just, like, go back to the normal 23. Is a Revoker better than a land? Maybe not. Stoneforge did nothing wrong. This is a hand that is too slow. This is a hand that has a rest in peace. Very, very instructive mulliganing decisions here. Ooh man, is my opponent just gonna go ham turn 1 with Faithless Looting? Yeah, they are! Look at them go! Yeah, I'm not really invested in Modern, but like Jace being in Modern might be enough to push me to like try the format again. I really like Jace the Mind Sculptor. I know I'm never casting it in Legacy these days, but it is a card that I very, very, very much love. This turn could be all sorts of bad, chat. All sorts of bad. This turn is not going to be bad. This turn's fine. We did it, chat. We won. We fought the good fight. So that's all 4 Icarids. And the opponent just scoops it up there. Whew. We were really lucky to dodge Cabal Therapy there, because, like, probably 90% of the time my opponent, like, just blind names Rest in Peace in this matchup. Alright. So we were on the draw again, and we win. So game 2, win with Rep on turn 2. Yeah, so I guess I'll talk about Modern just like a tiny bit when, while this next match queues up. I played a lot of Modern in the past, but they kept banning all of the cards that I like to play. Like, from very early on in, like, the format's inception, I was playing Blue-White-Red Control, and then the metagame shifted a little bit, and I played Twin for, oh, I don't know, probably a year or two, and I kind of went off and on between Blue-White-Red Control, Blue-Red Twin, Blue-White-Red Twin, and then various things I liked kept getting banned, whether it was Dig Through Time or Splinter Twin itself, or other things would get banned that would shake up the format. And Modern grew to be a format that was just too proactive for a lot of the strategies that I enjoyed. So I drifted away from Modern. Like, I know there is a Death and Taxes deck in that format, but it's garbage. It's nowhere near the same. It's like, that's a Death and Taxes deck where, like, the best part of your deck is Mirran Crusader, and that's really, really weird. Like, you just want to play Mirran Crusader as basically Modern's equivalent of, like, a True Name Nemesis, and just aggro them to death while you're disrupting them on other levels just enough to hinder them. So Bosk says D&T in Modern is kind of boring. It's very different. Like, it's more of a mid-range deck than a control deck, really. Like, you're this kind of, like, value Vile deck with a lot of, like, enter the battlefield blink stuff, rather than a true control deck. So, it's very unappealing. That deck's also really bad on the draw. And looks really solid. I recognize my opponent's name, but I don't have them in my records, so I must have played them prior to when I started record keeping. Oh, please just don't be Infect. Wow, a bit early today? Congrats on the followers. Ling, I'm trying to do 2 leagues today. I felt kind of bad for how shitty I played on the last one, so we're going to make up for that today. Yeah, we hit my first followers goal last stream, which I'm pretty happy about. And so I haven't decided if it's going to be like tomorrow or this weekend or next week yet, but at some point soon I'm going to do a nice mono white stream as a bonus stream for you all, as thanks for that. A little bit later on, when I have more people here, I will ask for feedback about what you all want to see. If my opponent is playing Infect, then this... Oh, good, they aren't. I will finish my sentence now. If they aren't playing Infect, this hand is stupid good and just got stupider. Oh, man. Oh, man, chat. We're taxing them out. We're taxing them out hard. So we get to curve, like, Mom into Thalia into Wingmare or Magus. No, this list has 3 Wingmares. Alright, so my opponent has a Force. So I will probably slam Magus on my turn. Those 2 mana brainstorms. Delicious. No, we took the resto out of the list for Wingmare number 3. I'm not sure, like, if 3rd Wingmare is reasonable or not, but it's feeling fine. Alright, so my opponent has 2nd Delver. I can slow roll this and not slam the Magus here, but, like, chat, you know what I say. We don't play Magus to not Magus. So we'll Magus them this turn. Actually, maybe that's not true. So hypothetically, let's say this Delver flips. Then I'm facing down 6 damage, I go to 10. My opponent has nothing to do with their mana and probably has a blue card. So they get to force me. I should probably just Swords of Delver. So I'm talking about, like, if I Magus, like, I know that resolves, but if my opponent leaves mana open because they can't do anything on their next turn, then I can't actually use my Swords to Plowshares to remove a Delver. That's the issue here. So, like, I should probably use this Swords to Plowshares while I can still use it, and then follow up with one of my 2 powerful plays. Alternatively, I can just play a Wingmare that can trade with a Delver. Yeah, it does block with Mom all day, but then, like, I open my stuff up to removal, but maybe that's fine, because if they remove one of them, then, like, I slam this Magus or a follow-up Wingmare, or then I just slam the Magus or removal or something like that. So, yeah, maybe Wingmare's fine, because it's uncounterable right now. It'll be a little awkward if my opponent wastelands me. Delver not flipping is great for us. So I can't do both of those because of my own Thalia. Like, I got to play 1 spell on my turn. Similarly, my opponent probably gets to play 1 spell of their own. Looks like my opponent has a Gurmag Angler, which is pretty good. So of note, my opponent can still Force of Will. Moonman! Moonman! And now we have all the time in the world to win this game. Alright, my opponent has a Stifle. So the nice thing about my board right now is that, like, I can actually use this Mother of Runes because if my opponent has a Lightning Bolt, they have to bolt the Magus to unlock the rest of their spells, and then that leaves them unable to do anything else with their turn except maybe, like, play a Deathrite Shaman or, like, yet another Delver. So, like, my opponent probably attacks in with everything. I'll take down a Delver here. I guess I could just, like, take 8 and, like, not trade the Wingmare for a Delver. And just, like, play slow and conservatively. Because, like, once I get rid of this other Gurmag, I feel pretty great about my board. I think I'll do that. Evening, Fizzler. My opponent may use their entire turn to stifle that if they want. I would not care. That is, if they could cast Stifle. Oh, the sadness. So my opponent gets whatever I play this turn, no matter what. Like, almost certainly, whatever I play, they force. So I don't think I want it to be the Swords of Plowshares. I think I just, like, want to jam another Wingmare, let them counter that Wingmare. Yep, so there's the force. The world's most expensive force of will. I guess that's not true. Like, Trinisphere's worse. On this turn, I probably won't take the Gurmag Angler hit, because if I do so, I will die to a Lightning Bolt, which is like one of the only cards that my opponent can cast. So if my opponent attacks in with both creatures this turn, I'll block with Wingmare, block with Mom, Pro Black Mom, and go from there. Climate change turned all of those watery things into mountains. Yeah, I'm not worried about my opponent going and now where is this? Alright, so the lightning bolt goes at Mom. Sure. Oh, geez, exactly force blue card? Exactly force blue card. Let's see, so I can attack my opponent for 4 down to 5, play a Stoneforge and threaten lethal on their turn, or on my next turn, so that my opponent can't attack, and that would give my opponent the out of exactly Bolt. If I just attack for 2, it puts my opponent to 7. If I Stoneforge, and I get Sword of Fire and Ice, and then block with Thalia, then that lets me cast the sword, even if my Stoneforge dies. Alternatively, like, I can just attack for 4, redeploy Thalia. No, I'll play the Stoneforge. So if I jump block with Thalia, this is still lethal with the sword. Alright, that one was on a little bit tighter margins than I thought it was going to be after how good things were looking at the beginning. Like, we were still very much in control of the entire game there. I was never, like, in fear of losing, but I thought we were going to win by more than we did. Alright, so game one, win with heavy taxation. Alright, so I'll show you what I mean about, like, the sideboarding against Grixis Delver now. So, like, we 100% want paths, we probably want about 2 Rest in Peace, and we probably want the Mirror and Crusader as well, although that's kind of close. What we don't want is Revoker, Recruiter, P and K, and that still leaves us at 61. So the question is, like, what to do from here. Like, since my opponent has Gurmag Angler in their deck, like, I would really like to have a Crusader in here, and, like, Crusader is good against most of their, like, non-Lightning Bolt cards. You know, it temporarily walls, like, Young Pyromancer and tokens from attacking. It's very good against Gurmag Angler. It's amazing with equipment. Not so great against, like, Bolt and Forked Bolt and True Name Nemesis, but, like, against the rest of the stuff, it's very, very good. So the question is, like, what would I want to take out to play this? Like, do I just run one fewer Rest in Peace than I normally do? Because, like, I'm on this, like, very Vryn Wingmare heavy build where, like, casting some of these cards can get very, very tricky, especially if I'm curving out well. And that might actually be the case with this build, even though, like, Rest in Peace is a very good card against, like, the Deathrite Shaman, Gurmag Angler, Cabal Therapy portion of this deck. I'm going to try just running 1 Rest in Peace and see how that feels. This hand is amazing. It doesn't have a removal spell, but like, if this Vial sticks, this hand is super, super aggressive off of Vial. Does Grixis still run Cabal Therapy in the main? Yes. Would they bring it in from the side against you if it wasn't? Yes. So the way the Grixis Delver deck usually plays out is they trim some number of counterspells for post-board games in order to go and bring in more cards that just kill my stuff. If my opponent has things like True Name Nemesis, Diabolic Edict, Forked Bolt, things of that general persuasion, they come in. Opponent probably made a small error there by not attacking with that Deathrite Shaman. There are no lands in the graveyard currently. Rip and Crusader answer almost the same cards, except Therapy, but you're more aggro with that. Yeah. So, like, the awkward thing about Rest in Peace in this matchup specifically is, like, because my Vial didn't resolve, if I had the Rest in Peace in my hand, would I rather play the Rest in Peace there, or would I rather play the Thalia there? Alright, opponent has Stifle. Which is awkward, because I really want to play the Stoneforge. Am I getting hemmed? Well, not getting hemmed, because there's no land in the graveyard still for this Deathrite Shaman. Oh, getting dismembered. Sure. Tricky spot. I can Stoneforge for Batterskull while my opponent isn't holding the Stifle up, or I can just play the Thalia, which is a better card. I think I like choking my opponent on mana since like they're missing land drops and there's no Deathrite Shaman food. Like both of those things together make me want to continue playing this game. Not a single recent Grixis Delver list is running Cabal Therapy main. It's just 15 threats and standard spells, just so like you know. I will look into that later, but I very much think that you're wrong. I have seen a lot of Game 1 Cabal Therapies online. But thank you for telling me. I will look at that. I'm giving my opponent this card, effectively. Like, I know they have this Stifle, and I'm going to let them use it on my Stoneforge trigger. The reason being that, like, as soon as I hit another land, I have so many good things to do that, like, I just want to play and get, like, another body in play. Especially because, like, I have a ton of Flicker Wisp value if this Stoneforge is in play, even if the initial one got stifled. This being, like, a True Nim would be super bad for me. Alright, I don't think I can beat that. It is not the land I want. I am looking to draw planes this turn so that I can flicker stone. Alright, that should mean I'm dead. Got him. Got that free card when we're dead on board anyway. Alright, so that was rough. So we're on the draw for that one, and we lost. So, like, what was the critical thing that beat us? I guess it's just the true name. No, it's not the true name. I think it's the fact that we missed so many land drops. Like, if we had hit that third land drop, you know, more than 2 turns ago, for example, like, I probably just could have raced a true name with that, like, giant flicker wisp chain that I had going on, or gotten a piece of equipment to gain some life. So, yeah, I think the loss there is not drawing land. Yeah, flooding on Thalia feels very bad. Very, very bad. This hand is pretty good. We have multiple removal spells and a wasteland, and 2 very annoying creatures, and we can cast all of this stuff. Since I have double remove... Thanks, Gudo. Have a good night. Since I have double removal spell here, I might just wasteland my opponent on my turn. If I only had single removal spell, I might not. But, like, with the double removal spell, so that, like, if they deploy a Deathrite Shaman, I can get rid of it, it's probably worth my time to just, like, get them with the wasteland. Yeah, especially now that I drew that other land. Yep. And I lead on Swords to Plowshares over Path to Exile every time, because if my opponent plays something like a big Gurmag Angler, I want to be able to path that and not give them 5 life. I'm going to go ahead and fetch for basic planes while my opponent can't stifle me, because that sort of thing matters. And then next turn we have Uncounterable Crusader or Uncounterable Wingmare, depending on what the board's looking like. I don't think I want to play the Crusader right into Lightning Bolt. I think I'd rather play the Wingmare, because if my opponent has a 1-mana removal spell, they can't actually use that to get rid of it. And I think I'm going to show them the Plateau and see if they'll waste that. If my opponent has a Daze on the draw, like, so be it. Alright, so this is working pretty much exactly how I wanted it to. Very, very good for us. So, like, that bolt is out of their hand. And I have this uncounterable Crusader now. There is an argument to be made for, like, going Mom Port on this turn instead, so that if my opponent has, like, another bolt, it hits the Mom instead of the Crusader. But I really like getting this Crusader in play. And, like, similarly, the Mom will be good against all of my opponent's creatures at any time. So I go Mom, Path, Port. And I am just going to snap this off right now. I'm not going to wait around for a better target. This is a good enough target. Deathrite Shaman's a really good card when your opponent is light on resources. So if we brick for a couple of turns, we can keep my opponent off of black to cast like Deathrite Shaman and Gurmag Angler and be in an okay position. What would I love to draw? Stoneforge Mystic would be great. Wing Mirror Thalia would be very good. The Rest in Peace would be respectable. Wouldn't hate having the safety net of another spell. Or another removal spell, I should say, sorry. Kind of want to get in there with the Mom. Like, Thalia is protected by the Karakas, and I don't care about the Mom itself right now. Pushing the 1 point of damage could be relevant. And my opponent certainly isn't going to trade. I port my opponent off of black on their turn. Yeah. Hey, Phil, I know you don't follow Modern, but what's your 2 cents about the unbannings? I think they are very good unbannings. I think Modern is such a fast and proactive format that slowing it down and letting Control be a like real viable archetype is probably good. And I like that at the same time they give other decks a tool that will be good against the Jace decks. Like, you know, the Bloodbraid Jace rivalry has gone back a very, very long time, back to like when those cards were in Standard even. And like Bloodbraid checks Jace pretty darn well. So like we're probably going to see some blue, white, red, and Grixis decks that play a lot of turns 1 and 2 interactions in order to make it to the point where Jace is around. I'm excited that Jace is in Modern. I might go back to playing Modern a little bit because of that. Probably not, but maybe. If you want real input, like someone like Jeff Hoogland, for example, who like streams a lot of Modern, probably has more articulate and more accurate thoughts than I do. I know there was an article on SCG, I think it was SCG today, where someone was saying, you know, oh, it's the end of the world, you know, this is what kills Modern. A lot of the decks just die because they can't keep up with these other cards. But I'm not so sure about that. Ugh. I know there is some value in holding that vial there for the sake of hiding information, but I think this game is going to go on for a little while. I mean, like Staticaster, that'd be pretty devastating. A braid on Thalia. I'll bounce Thalia. Man, my opponent must have just like a lot of clunk in their hand to like just use that abrade to essentially like save 2 points of damage. Okay. So I can vial in Stoneforge, get a piece of equipment, cast it, attack in, which is super bad if my opponent has force. Alternatively, like I can just vial in Thalia, cast Stoneforge, port them again, and like punish that abrade line, which seems pretty good. I guess it can be... So I can just get like the Jitte and go like cast the Jitte this turn and then not attack with Mom. That would be a little soft to them playing a true name though, so I actually think I want to get Sword of Fire and Ice. Ooh, so I know my opponent has the Stifle, so I can't actually... Huh. I can't actually, like, effectively activate the Stoneforge for a piece of equipment next turn, so maybe I will just get Jitte. Alright, sorry, I lied. Yeah, and my opponent scoops it up there. Alright. So game 3, win. We really won that one with Mana Denial. Like, I know the Stoneforge there is what effectively won it, but my opponent had 5 cards in hand and just, like, it felt like they could not do absolutely anything there to save their lives. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the deck list real quick and run to the restroom, and then let's just keep jamming. Alright, back in the queue we go. Sorry about that, chat. While I'm waiting, Phileas Akari said something that caught my attention a while back. He said that the Delver decks were all not running Cabal Therapy now, and that doesn't seem right to me. So I'm just going to like pull up a bunch of Grixis Delver lists and take a look. Yeah, there's one with therapy. Alright, it is seeming like there is a trend going away from therapy in the main, but like it's not like unprecedented by any means right now. Hey Phil, can you talk about why you're at 3 Flicker Wisp? Why is the 3rd Wingmare / Flex slot better? Wisp is just so flexible, it seems wrong to go down from a playset. Yes, absolutely. Let me see if I have any data on my opponent, and then I'll talk about that. Our opponent is a Game of Thrones fan, last seen on Grixis Delver about a month ago. This hand is fine. This is not an exciting hand. If I didn't suspect highly that my opponent was on Grixis Delver, I might just mulligan this one. But like a Swords to Plowshares in my hand buys me a lot of time against that deck. Alright, so I'm on the draw. Okay, so now I've got everything in order. So Flicker Wisp versus other flex slots. In the red-white deck, a lot of times you are putting your caverns on humans, and your mana is a little more vulnerable to Wasteland than normal because you're running a bunch of like plateaus and fetches and such that like normally don't ignore things like Wasteland and Stifle that the mono white build can largely ignore. So what that means is that it is a little bit harder to cast white-white cards, especially like white-white non-human cards. My opponent thought for a long time on that Force of Will. They might not have any lands in hand, and they're worried about getting like Brainstorm locked here or something like that. Unsure exactly. So I've gone down 1 Flicker Wisp in order to just sort of respect my mana base. Like I'm on a 3 Cavern of Souls build, so like a lot of what I'm doing is, ooh, my opponent is F6. They don't have any more counter magic. That's very good to know. So it's like, since I'm running heavy on caverns, it's a good thing to just respect my opponent's cards. Alright, opponent has another Force. There's the Ponder we knew about. Alright, so they didn't shuffle, and I suspect that they got that Scalding Tarn. So the question is my opponent's remaining card a blue card other than the Force of Will that I know about? Hey Moxel, thanks for stopping by. It is. Okay. So if my opponent bricks this turn, I really like my position. Oh, but it doesn't look like they bricked, and they're making a mana. So that's not good for me. Oh, geez. That's rough. Alright, what am I doing with my life? I can Recruiter of the Guard for a Stoneforge Mystic. Play my land, discard my Recruiter of the Guard to Liliana, and then Stoneforge in whatever piece of equipment I want. That seems pretty good. I need something that helps to check their board. So, like, if I Recruiter for Stoneforge, I take my Vial up, and then on my next turn, I can, like, Stoneforge and play an equipment. But then the Liliana minuses, so I need to draw another thing as well. I can't really afford to just get, like, a Revoker to stop the Liliana. I could get a Flicker Wisp with it and, like, try to do that chain. And, like, just not play this Plateau to discard that instead. That might be fine. Oh, Moxel, thank you very much for subscribing. I really appreciate that. It's going to support me doing what I love to do. Praise be. So, like, this is 100% happening. I could also P and K. Wow, P and K seems really solid against their board. That buys a lot of time. It's good against the Liliana, it's good against the Delver. It would require me to discard my other Recruiter of the Guard, but, like, sans a discard spell, that might be enough to stabilize on the board on its own. That might be better. It's a little soft to a Daze or a discard spell. I'm in for that. Like, the nice thing is that if, like, my opponent has a Wasteland or something of that nature that would take me off of the P and K, I can just discard the P and K, keep the Recruiter, and, like, just get a Stoneforge as planned. Oh, is this like a zombie fish? Zombie fish would be bad. Seems like a zombie fish. Yeah, welcome to the really messed up world that is Legacy right now. That is devastatingly good against me. Alright, Recruiter, you did your job. You got a P&K and gained me 5 life here. Great job, little buddy. Alright, not a good draw. So now I'm in this tricky spot where I can kill the Liliana of the Veil this turn, but I take a buttload of damage in doing so. So I can attack in with both Thopters at Lily. My opponent will block one Thopter, and then I can huck the remaining, the Thopter that is blocked at Lily, and then that gets rid of that problem. But if I do that, my opponent drains me, puts me to 5, drains me, puts me to 3, and then like I have to block both the Gurmag Angler and the Delver. So I think I have to go on the defensive here, which sucks. I don't like the direction that Grixis Delver is going, where they're playing like a bunch of like Abrades, Liliana of the Veils, True Name Nemesis, and a bunch of like really expensive cards that historically they would never consider in the main deck. I don't love that. So what am I doing here? I was really hoping that my opponent like would just tick up again. I think I have to huck a Thopter at either Delver or Deathrite. Probably Delver, since it effectively hits for more. I guess I could sacrifice my Vial. If I sacrifice my Vial, then I can sack P and K to the trigger. No, I think in order to win, like I need like a Flickerwist to flicker P and K again. Oh no, did I just like P and K shoot my own P and K? I really hope I did not do that. Alright, I P and K shot Lily. Oh, okay, I misclicked there, and I clicked one too many times on P and K initially. Okay, that sucks. Alright, I'll just concede there. Alright, I was very dead either way. So here's how I think this game should have gone, like assuming I don't misclick there. So I think to give myself the best chance to win, I maybe should have thrown my Ether Vial at the Deathrite Shaman on my turn. My opponent Lily Edicts me. I sack a Thopter. I block another Thopter on Gurmag, take 3, go to 2. And then if I draw a land, I can play like Ether Vial, have a remaining Thopter. No, it was just bad. Like, that was... We weren't getting that one. If I drew blanks there. Interesting spots, that game. What did we do before? We ended up with 1 Rest in Peace and the Crusader. 4 Revoker, PNK, Recruiter. I would like to play first. Yes. Hand's great. Well, not great, like it doesn't have pressure or an Ether Vial, but other than that, it's fine. That's a shame. Like, our hand was so good against, like, the traditional Delvery stuff, but not Liliana of the Veil. And it really sucked that we had to discard the Swords to Plowshares in order to, like, stay on curve. Good news is, still got all these Cavern of Souls. If I had to draw a land, like, a port or a wasteland is far preferable to all of the other options. Alright. No, I don't think this game is anywhere close to over. Like, my opponent has 1 land. Yes, we have a few dead cards, but, like, this bomb can get a lot of virtual card advantage, as can a number of other cards in our deck. Like, my opponent has no threat. My life total is safe. I'm not worried about, like, any 1 or 2 drop that my opponent plays. I'm more worried about something, you know, like a Liliana of the Veil or a... Oh, baby. It's really unfortunate they got that Death Right into play, but, like, whatever. All I see are mountains. And this Magus will be protected as well. Oh, you think my opponent just has, like, blanks over there. I see, because, like, they just, like, probe brainstormed and, like, wasted me a couple of times. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I don't know, Plateau's like $2 on Magic Online, so I don't know how much his other dual lands are. I've only bought Plateaus and Scrub lands, but I can't assume that they're that much. So someone a while back asked about like the white cards in this deck, specifically Flicker Wisp. This is another reason why like it's 100% reasonable to trim a Flicker Wisp. When you're mooning yourself and shutting off a lot of your own cards, trimming is fine. Lightning Bolt targeting Magus of the Moon. I'll protect. You have another Bolt. Jeez, Culligan's Command. Alright, we got some value out of that extra Caracas. Flooding real hard this game. Yeah, I tried to prelate in a Marian Crusader for a bit with the splash build, and I found that I ended up in similar situations like this. Yeah, like this is what I was talking about earlier, where like a lot of the decks are trying to like beat up on the control decks like Miracles and Check Pile by going and playing a bunch of big cards that just should not be in their deck. And when they are going on that outvalue route, it ends up like with splash damage to our deck. My opponent should plus here rather than minus. If they plus, I can't take their Lily off of the board. Now they're essentially using it as a removal spell. But if my opponent has like another relevant card in hand, it's fine for them. All right, that was literal perfects there. We are super punishing my opponent not ticking up. Doing that exposes my Flicker Wisp to a Lightning Bolt, but I don't want to give my opponent any more Elementals. If I dodge Bolt this turn, I'm in pretty awesome shape. I suppose I also have to dodge some bullshit like Culligan's Command or whatnot that my opponent could have as well. Gosh, we are drawing so many lands, chat. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to just like kill a Deathrite and expose this Flicker Wisp to a Bolt. The Deathrites represent a lot of advantage over time. I don't necessarily care about them this turn, but like if my opponent gets a fetch land and they all of a sudden get to start like both draining me and eating things, it could be very, very bad for me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, really glad I killed the Deathrite. Exactly the situation that I talked about just happened. I'm not going to use this counter here in case my opponent has something like a Deathrite Shaman, or not a Deathrite Shaman, a Young Pyromancer or a Delver that they end up playing, where like the odd number of counters ends up being really good. I'm going to go ahead and cast this now for recombat. If my opponent has like a Culligan's command in mid-combat, they like made me discard a card and blew up my Jitte, I'd be super sad. I might not even remove the Deathrite Shaman now. Now that's just a 1-2, I'll probably leave it there. Like, I get more value out of just, like, killing an elemental than I do, anything else. And I probably won't even... port my opponent off of Liliana of the Veil here. Yeah, so Phileas Sakari, that's what I was about to say. Like, I probably won't kill any of their stuff since, like, I have lethal on board. Very much lethal on board now. Not sure that my opponent was supposed to pay life there. I will take that 3. That's fine. Young Pyromancer, also fine. And this will let me know 100% sure that what I'm about to do is safe. Bolt targeting me. Yeah, okay, and they just realized what they did. Alright, so we win game 2 there. Game 2, win with top deck Jitte after flooding. Yeah, so like the question there is like, does my opponent actually have like a second K command in their deck? Yeah, that was a very good Jitte. This hand needs to go back. Like it is missing too many things. This hand is not amazing, but it's acceptable, and I'm gonna go ahead and take that land. No turn 1 threat from my opponent is nice. 2K command seems insanely greedy if they already have Liliana the Veil and 1 command in the 75. Yeah, but like if my opponent is already going that far, what stops them from going further? You know? Alright, apparently they've got a real tricky ponder. I'm gonna have an impressive plains go. Time to roll out the punishing fire decks. Get those Delver decks. Culligan's Command is good against Chalice decks, so I could see running more. Sure, but like, didn't my opponent show us game 1 a Braid, or was that the other Delver guy? So my opponent is probably like doing a Scrubs brainstorm here where they just like brainstorm for the sake of like casting it, even though it's not giving them good value. Yeah, so that's a good point. Like in a matchup like this, it is hard to stay on 3 mana over the course of multiple turns. Like, it sounds silly to say that, but like when there are wastelands on both sides of the table, when Deathrite Shaman and friends are getting removed and things of that nature, it's tough. Alright, I'm really glad that's a cantrip and not just something like a natural Delver there. My opponent did not shuffle. Kind of want to, like, path this Deathrite Shaman because my opponent has shown me a lot of, like, stupid big cards. But if they have another land that's super bad and, like, not mana efficient. So I think I'm just going to jam the Stoneforge here and then hope to Stoneforge plus, or excuse me, and hope to Batterskull plus Path next turn. If not, backup of Flickerwisp plus Path is fine. Days. Okay. Jace is a really hard card to use. All of its modes are good. There is a lot to think about when you Jace, and like even the players that have been like playing with Jace, since the card was printed, mess up sometimes. Like you're playing against a Delver deck. Do you just like auto Fate Seal once to get it out of range of Bolt, or do you risk it? Are you ahead enough on board where you can just like Jace minus 2 times in a row and just like out tempo out your opponent? There's a lot going on with that card. Oh, this turn is gross. I think I want to just double removal spell rather than Flicker Wisp and 1 removal spell. My opponent's resource light, so let's play around Days with both of these. The upside to playing Flicker Wisp and 1 removal spell would be that if I draw another land, I could go like Jete Equip very easily. But like if I draw another land, I still get to like Flicker Wisp one of my lands and then port them, which is still fine. And then like that same line is open on the following turn. Alright, everything's great. I'm great. Magic's great. I don't think my opponent has counter magic based on their F6ing nature. Sure. The Thalia makes my Jitte in hand a little bit awkward, but that's fine. I think that was my opponent fetching purely to thin, right? I'm going to play Jitte because I don't want to double port, because as of like right now, the way my mana is, I'm holding up Caracas to protect Thalia and my only threat. Although I expect this Jitte to just die. Like, my opponent has to have something in hand. They've been doing nothing, so I expect like an Abrade or something like that. Yeah, there it is. I think I am okay with dropping the Thalia protection to play Mirren Crusader. It will close this game very, very quickly. Tricky about what I want to get rid of. I think it's Crusader, since I can protect the Thalia. Yeah, I'll sack the Crusader, and get immediately punished by drawing a Thalia, of course. I'm going to keep them off of Gurmag Angler. And I am fine with just porting a second time here. Like, if they brainstorm or something like that, so be it. I don't particularly care about that. They're really resource light. Alright, Edict. We will return Thalia to our hand. Now I guess I port them off of red this turn. Again, I think I want to keep the Caracas protection up, since like my opponent has a bunch of cards that may or may not be doing anything right now. Alright, that should pretty much wrap things up. Toxic Deluge, X equals 1. Alright, opponent fighting the good fight. But like this turn, I get to go and... Oh, they've got something else. Cabal Therapy? Another Deathrite Shaman. Not the greatest. They'll get to chump block for a few turns before like the sword actually connects. But they've been using their resources very inefficiently. Alright, my opponent just lets me hit, which is probably incorrect. I'm just going to shoot a Deathrite Shaman. The reason being that my opponent can do exactly what they're doing right now. Alright, and the opponent scoops it up. Excellent. Win. So game 3, win with Thalia and Caracas combo. Amazing how effective that like just old school tech of protect my idiot with Caracas can be. Sorry, I'm just gonna stretch for a second. I enjoy just kind of moving up, getting around a little bit, and getting the blood flowing again. It helps me stay focused and play better. Alright, so thank you to all of you who have tuned in. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, and tonight we are streaming some Red-White Death and Taxes. List has felt pretty solid so far. I don't know that I want to make any changes. The sort of flex spot for tonight is Vryn Wingmare number 3, which has been performing pretty well for us. We are currently 3-0 tonight with wins against Dredge somehow, Grixis Delver, and Grixis Delver again. I'm tempted to try another Revoker in that flex spot for curve/ease of casting considerations. I don't know. I've been boarding out Revoker a lot. Like, I understand how powerful a card it is and that it is very, very good. But, like, of the tier 1 stuff, it's mostly just, like, death and taxes that I really, really want the card for. And then there are other matchups where it's like, okay, I really hope it sticks. Otherwise, I'm in super bad trouble. Like, I usually board out Revoker against Checkpile, for example, because, yes, it shuts off their Planeswalkers, but they just have so much removal that you can't expect him to reliably stick around. And him being an artifact is a downside as well. So, Moxel, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Alright, we're stuck in the queue forever here, so it seems. Approaching the 3-minute mark. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Give me something to talk about. Sure, online seems like check and miracles like crazy. Let me look at what the numbers are on that, actually. So, looks like miracles is about 7%. What they call 4-color control on MTG Top 8 is at about 7%, and Grixis control is about 2%. There's a very fine line between like what is and what isn't Checkpile in those, so it's probably more accurate to say that Checkpile is somewhere between 7 and 9%. Probably not fully at 9, but there are also some random, like, essentially Checkpile decks without red that have been floating around recently that are just sort of these, like, bug value decks. That's been picking up in popularity, too, for reasons I haven't quite figured out yet. Like, Culligan's Command seems really, really good. I don't know why you wouldn't want to play that card if you're looking to grind. Please. Ah, thank you. Finally, magic. This is just the guy from last time, right? From a couple matches ago. So we're playing against Grixis Delver again. And we are on the draw. If this Vial resolves, this hand is great. If this Vial doesn't resolve, this hand is bad. My opponent could have Force or Daze to make this hand bad. If they lead on a Deathrite Shaman, I still have a Revoker. Loose Keep. All Delver all the time. Hi, relatively experienced Magic player here, looking about getting into Legacy, thinking about D&T. Assuming money was not an issue, would D&T be a good deck to learn? For reference, I play Blue-Black Mill in Modern, and I love the resource and combo denial in it. Oh, second Vial's great. Opponent shuffle with Ponder. If you love Resource Denial, then Death and Taxes is one of the best legacy decks to do that with. Death and Taxes is a deck that you can play for years and not get bored of it and constantly get better with it, and you will improve with it, and you'll learn a lot about Magic in the meantime. I highly recommend D&T if you enjoy the Resource Denial element of that mill deck. D&T is also not a particularly expensive deck. It has that going for it as well. Like these days, it is very realistic for a player to just like trade into a copy of D&T. Like Port's the only thing that's a little tricky to get. All right. I'm still gonna go ahead and name human with this, even though I have no humans in my hand. Assuming I draw more lands, I have more humans than anything else, and like I plan on viling in most of the stuff that's here anyway. And sort of still on the topic of like getting into D&T, like the D&T community is very, very good. There are a handful of people, like especially me, that are really dedicated to the deck and talk about the deck a lot on various places. It's very easy to learn more about this deck, which is not the case for a lot of decks in the format. Alright, opponent has a very aggressive start. Since I can't yet put in any equipment I fetch with this Stoneforge, I'm going to go ahead and just revoke the Deathrite Shaman right now. No, excuse me. Oh, great. Delver's not flipping. I don't play D&T, but my friend does. It's super sweet. I agree. You get to do a lot of really cool and really weird things with this deck. Alright. I'll do a quick stifle check. Meister, that is not true. We are a crappy white weenie deck. We don't have any like Isamarus or anything. Alright, that Swords to Plowshares is really good. I'm not sure whether I want to point it at the Deathrite or the one of the Delvers yet. I think it's a Delver. My opponent is kind of resource light, so if they're just draining me with this Deathrite every turn, that's okay, and there's also not a lot of food for them. Although I'm going to wait for my opponent's turn to do it. Some lists play Rimmaz, right? We need a can. Alright. Now that my opponent tapped out, I will actually go ahead and just ping one right now. Similarly, to play around the stifles, which may or may not be in my opponent's deck, I think I'm just going to get a lot of value right here. So what I'm going to try to do here is get my opponent to bolt the Stoneforge out of fear of me drawing a land, and then Flicker Wisp it. Hey, I finally get to see you on stream, Phil. Welcome, glad to have you here. Chat's talking about sweet things like Magus of the Moon being amazing. Very happy about that. Yeah, I mean, certainly you've heard me serenading the chat to Moonman. Alright, what are you doing? What are you doing, buddy, with all that mana over there? Oh, there's a big zombie fish. Look at that, chat. Look at that zombie fish. Oh, no. I messed up because I didn't have a stop set. That's annoying. Alright, that's fine. Yeah, super punished for not having a second main phase stop set. My opponent has this scumbag Delver that's never going to flip, so that's great for us. Hey, flipped! And I'm going to go ahead and Stoneforge in the Batter Skull here. Oh, okay, you were the person who tried out moat. Yeah, so like I have a moat and one of my roommates has a moat, so when I want to mess around with it, I am able. And my opponent shuffles off of the ponder, not liking what they see. I'll go ahead and trade with the Delver. Chat will pay attention to you when I have less clicking to do. It looks like you're saying a lot of fun things about decks. Yeah, I assume that, like, anyone who is playing Modern right now is playing against all sorts of weirdness. There are going to be a lot of people brewing with Jace, shoving it into every deck imaginable, from your, like, stock decks to trying to create new stuff. Like, 20 minutes after the ban, someone messaged like, "Hey, Phil, how many Jaces should I run an Escape Ship deck?" And my response was, "I haven't played Modern in a year and a half. I don't know. Try 2. Evening, Phil. How am I? I'm doing pretty well. Like, we're crushing this league so far. We're just, like, playing against Mono Grixis Delver all night, though, so, like, that's happening. Alright, opponent making some mana. They have, like, a true name or something? Alright, you have a true name. But true name is not beating Batterskull with Sword of Fire and Ice. OP is in sad face territory. Tonight's deck list is without Daredevil. We are running 3 Vryn Wingmare tonight, and they've been very good so far. I kind of want to just, like, chump with a Stoneforge here to just, like, make sure that I'm going to be, like, way ahead on life total in case something goes wrong. This is probably not necessary, but I think the chances that I need this Stoneforge are so very small that I just want to make sure. And I'm going to kill their death right here, because I can then wasteland them off of red. And the opponent scoops it up. So game 1 win with Batterskull and SoFi. Alright, same boarding strategy as before. 3 path, 1 rip, 1 Crusader, out Revokers, out Recruiters, out PNK. So for anyone who wasn't here for the previous versions, normally I board in 2 Rest in Peace, but since, like, I have this 3rd Wingmare in here, which is a very, very good card, I don't necessarily want to do that, because the more non-creature spells I have, the more situations I put myself into where I can't cast them due to, like, the Thalias and Wingmare stacking with each other. So, like, Rest in Peace is very, very good, but So are all these cards. Do you recommend the 3 Windmare for a meta that I have no idea what's going on in? I've been really liking this deck list. I certainly like 2, pretty much like no matter what you're doing. Oh geez, our opponent mulliganed to 5. That's not where you want to be on the play. So I'm going to lead on Wasteland Ether Vial, and if nothing happens to the Vial, I'm going to double Wasteland my opponent on their next turn and just lock them out of this game. End step top says the trio of Gideons to protect Jace makes me moist. That's gross. Yeah, so like Modern might be a very interesting place if you get to like play a control deck that's running 3 or 4 different planeswalkers. Like if you do something like run Jace the Mind Sculptor, Gideon Jura, Gideon Ally of Zendikar, or something like that. Seems good. I don't know how many lands my opponent has, but it is probably fewer lands than I have. Okay, that's fine. I am trading a card for a card here, and then I get to do this. Narset? I don't know about Narset Fizzler. I think that's another one of your bad ideas. I'm not entirely sure why my opponent fetched. It might have been because they have Stifle in their hand. And like if I had a fetch land, interesting. I'm gonna jam the card that I care about sort of the least right now this turn. I'm gonna jam my Rest in Peace. If they have a Stifle and they stifle that trigger, like so be it. Spell Pierce. Deal. Alright, you have a Delver. That turn was okay. Yeah, post-board Spell Pierce against D&T is interesting. I am happy when my opponent plays Spell Pierce. Any one of these is good enough to win the game. I'm going to get Sword of Fire and Ice in case something goes wrong and my opponent rips a bunch of lands and they just like start going ham with a True Name or a Gurmag Angler and they clog up the board. Just getting this to draw me out of anything that they could have for opposition is probably great. And my opponent concedes. I hate having to play around click. Alright, so we win that one. Game 2, win with double wasteland. Back in the queue we go. So sorry, someone was asking about my deck list. This is what we're looking at. So, in the place of where we had sort of the Direfleet Daredevils before, we've picked up some Wingmares. So from the stock red-white list that I was running for a while, I dropped the Palace Jailer. I was boarding it out too much. Like, I don't like it against Grixis Delver because Young Pyromancer goes wider than it and True Name ignores it. I don't like it against Miracles and Check Pile because it's risky. I don't like it against a lot of the decks. Like, it is amazing against a couple of decks, like Show and Tell and Eldrazi in particular. It's great against, but otherwise it's somewhat mediocre. Like, Palace Jailer has always been like high risk, high reward card, and I don't like risk in my plays and deck building. That's something you've probably figured out. How do you feel about main deck Rest in Peace? I wrote an article on it. Long story short, data showed that it was pretty good. I wonder if we'll get paired against the same guy again. Alright, it's Malamujo, who could be playing a lot of things. I know he's been playing some D&T lately. This hand's terrible against, like, anything. So I'll mulligan this. And I'll keep this. And I'll put that on the bottom. Do we really need 24 lands? Yes. I'm gonna ask my opponent a couple of questions. So I asked my opponent, how has Brimaz been for you? Seen a couple of your lists floating around. Same question for Mindbreak Trap. So for Budza, who asked about, do we really need 24 lands? It makes the mana considerably better to have that 24th land, and it also helps just kind of smooth things over. Ooh, choice of play another Aether Vial or waste my opponent. I think I'm just going to waste. So Malamuja says, Brimaz is really good. Trap is meh. I just got tilted because I was paired against 2 Belcher guys in a row. Alright, my opponent has the swords. Alright, obligatory play is obligatory. Alright, my opponent gets Recruiter, which probably gets a Stoneforge. Phil, have you ever done a mono-white Eldrazi taxes in Legacy? Yes. Did not like it. Just want to play that white weenie deck so badly that we'll just jam Brimaz on in there. So you notice here that my opponent put their Cavern on Soldier. Putting it on Soldier lets you go and cast both Thalia and Brimaz with it. What do you think the threshold is for Grixis Delver before we start pre-boarding against it? I mean, aren't we already? Isn't that like our whole deck? Ugh. Yeah, I really like the third path on the board as well. I really wish we had some more lands so that I could do cool things. So I'm going to blink out their mom here. That way they don't get to go and connect with equipment. And we have 9 power of flying in the air, which bodes well. Yeah, Blood Sun can be devastatingly good. We're obligated to make this play. It's real bad if our opponent has the removal spell. They do. And now we hope to draw a removal spell of our own. I guess Revoker counts. So I can revoke Jitte and just crash in. I guess I don't have a lot of options. Ooh, that's bad. Did not play around second piece of equipment. Yup. And now both of my flicker was die to that, and I'm probably just like stone cold dead. Yep. I don't even think I want to put in one of these Maguses. That's a start, but that's just going to be too late. I'm just dead to everything that's going on over there. So this still has 1 counter, right? So that kills one of these. I Stoneforge. I get a piece of equipment. I'll never connect with it. Yeah. I'll concede this one here. No, my opponent has Jitte counters, so like I'm just not getting there. Um, the like my opponent can gain 2 life or kill one of my guys with that, and they have like Mom and the like flying death machine that is Sarah Avenger. So like no, I don't get there just by swinging in. Yeah. That's one thing I really dislike about Jitte on Magic Online. It's basically impossible to see if your opponent has a counter. Yeah, Sarah Avenger is very good in the mirror. We drew sort of poorly for the mirror. Like we had that double Magus on the Moon there that like literally did nothing to my opponent's board. All right, so we're playing red white DNT against regular DNT. I was on the draw and I lost against Malamujo. Game 1 loss to double equipment. I did not play around. So I could have played around the line that my opponent took there. I valued just getting them dead, though. This hand is slow, but fine. Like, it's hard to throw back a hand that has a Mom in the mirror. It's such a powerful card. Alright, so they get their own Batter Skull. I'll just pass here with the option to put in Batter Skull or Jitte, depending on what it looks like is going to happen. In all likelihood, like I'll put in my Batter Skull, my opponent will put in their Batter Skull, and we'll have an awkward standoff where I flicker with my Batter Skull again before getting Jitte online. What are people's thoughts about +1 Containment Priest, -1 Vial in the mirror when on the draw? I think Vial is the best card in the deck. Not close, so I try not to cut it. If your board has so many cards that like you absolutely want to just play that many, then like maybe it can be correct. We're going for broke here. So my opponent puts in their Batter Skull. We trade. but then I get 2 jitte counters to their relatively empty board. And I am not going to kill their Stoneforge now. Can you just equip Jitte to your battle skull token and then whisk their germs so you can start putting counters on the Jitte? Yeah, I took an aggressive line there. Like, since I have this Flicker Wisp and I can Flicker Wisp my own Batter Skull pretty easily. Ooh, that's very good. My opponent probably votes for Jitte. They might not, but it seems like Jitte is the clear card to vote for. Yeah. So I kind of like just playing P and K so that like I can just Flicker Wisp P and K from here on out. But that's probably not better than just playing a Vial and getting very aggressive with the board. Star Avenger seems like. Yep. And what else do you have? A Stoneforge. That's pretty good. They get their own Jitte. That's scary. Have a good evening. Alright, not a great spot. Their Jitte is going to really wreck my board. And this P and K can't stop the Sarah Avenger. I can create a bunch of P and K tokens that do things. I can just suit up the Batter Skull to the Flicker Wisp now, which might be good. I can't port them off of casting their spells. I kind of don't want my Flicker Wisp to die. So I guess that would put it up to 5 toughness, and then it could trade with the Avenger, leaving my opponent with no Jitte counters. That would be fine. It's just bad if my opponent like takes the time to Batter Skull first. Yeah, suiting up the Flicker Wisp is not a great line, but it's the best that we've got. Yeah, so this probably forces them to trade the Avenger for the Flicker Wisp, and like then there's a possibility that like I can just like use P and K bounce to keep the Stoneforge from getting any more counters. Oh, Source of Plowshares is devastating. Holy cow. That is rough. Yep. Alright. So I can redeploy my Batter Skull essentially for free. I can play P and K and force my opponent to use 3 Jitte counters to get rid of it. If my opponent uses 3 Jitte counters to get rid of that, then they can't stop me from putting the Batter Skull on a flyer the following turn. But then they just equip this Batter Skull here. We're probably dead. I'm gonna play out P and K. Oh, Swagohad MTG, thank you very much for joining the Cult of Thalia and supporting my stream. I very much appreciate it. Sorry you joined in the middle of this, but the Cult of Thalia is strong, and I'm not the only cultist. Whoever was saying Avenger is good in the mirror, you are seeing just exactly how good that is. So update for those of you that have subscribed, I touched base with the person who was making me my emote yesterday. They said that the drawing is done. They have to digitize it and make it into the 3 different sizes that Twitch needs in order to get everything through. So hopefully soon. You want to jam Avenger in the red-white build? Seems bad, but Avenger. Please don't have more things. Alright, you have a recruiter. What does that go and get? Another Stoneforge, a mom. What are you doing? A Flicker Wisp. That's a fine safety net to have. So this, I guess, names my Batter Skull since it's the only thing that can maybe get me out of this. And then they use a bunch of Jitte tokens to, oh no, they're just going to leave P and K and revoke it. Reasonable. Path. Okay. So, this Jitte has 4 frickin' counters. Which is very bad for us. So how do I wiggle out of this? If I path the Revoker, he kills P and K in response, and I don't get to, like, fling stuff around. I guess I can blink the Jitte. He goes to remove a bunch of stuff from my board. I'm so close to having the right tools. I kind of want to save this path for my opponent's turn to stop them from getting more Jitte counters. And then Flicker Wisp something. Like I can, How many jitta counters? 4. It's 4, so it's rough. I guess I can, like, equip Batterskull onto something, try to get him to use jitte counters. I think I just pass. I pass, and I hope to wiggle myself into a situation where I get out of this. If I can stabilize this jitte situation... Oh, geez. Alright. That's a sword. Yep. Alright. You kill a Thopter. Kind of want to respond to that by blinking out the jitte, so that maybe, no, this is still revoked too. And this turn I think I have to, like, path this for tempo reasons. So I think I'd let that happen. So I get my own jitte if my opponent lets this happen, which they probably cannot. Okay. Well, that lets me Stoneforge, get Jitte, equip Jitte, swing in, and P and K off Vile, but not be able to protect P and K, which is unfortunate. Super unfortunate that P and K is red because Revoker reasons. Or, excuse me, Sword of Fire and Ice reasons. So I can just equip Batterskull to Flickerwish to give myself something with 5 toughness that will trade with Revoker. But if my opponent diversifies threats, that's not so great. Oh no, I know my opponent has a Flicker Wisp. So keeping that in mind, I think I want a Stoneforge. Oh shit, my Jitte's gone. That's a punt then. Yeah, I realized that a second too late, which is super bad. The issue with the army play is that, like, they have that Jitte, right? So I can't just, like, chump block forever because of the Jitte. Put Batterskull onto the Stoneforge. Okay. Put Jitte onto the Stoneforge. Okay. I actually think that's a really big misplay. Here's why. Oh no, they have Caracas too. That's unfortunate. We'll see if my opponent sees it. Oh, they don't. That's awesome for me. I got so much absurd value there. Oh man, this Revoker is sweet. I'm not sure what I'm doing with it yet, but it's sweet. So I can equip my Sword of Fire and Ice and just kind of get in there and rumble. And try to draw another relevant card, which I think I like, and then I can revoke Jitte. And I'm gonna just put it on a Thopter. No, I'll put it on the Wisp. Vile, not what I want. try the same thing again. It shouldn't work this time. They probably figured it out. I'm fine with taking this hit since my life total is so high. It's all over when this Revoker's gone. Unsure what their Flicker Wisp is going to do. They have a ton of lines available to them. It might just blink my Vial. No. Blink that sword. Sure. I think, more or less, no matter what, I'm going to make a bunch of idiots. So I'm just going to do that now. Really surprised my opponent didn't want to like use both Jitte counters there to get rid of that. Oh, need to hit okay. Yeah, sure, like we have lots of Thopters, but I'll try to put some pressure on my opponent's life total. I can't start using P and K to just like shoot down all of my opponent's stuff because of the Revoker that's on P and K. Like, if I can get this Revoker off the table, yeah, I'm in amazing shape. Yeah, alright, that shuts me down pretty well. Again, fine with taking the hit, I think. Or maybe I should just be blocking, since I can keep producing them. How many counters does my opponent have? One. Oh yeah, time is definitely an issue. Like, even if I win this game, I'll time out the next one. I think this is game 2. I don't remember for sure. Again, I really think my opponent would be okay blowing a couple of jitte counters to kill the P and K forever. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that is just a touch too late. How many jitte counters are left? 1. So I can't go remove that equip. It's unfortunate. So close, so close. So I'll force a removal. Yep. And then I have to pass the turn so that my opponent doesn't get more jitte counters on their next turn. It's very possible that we get this game. Because like I'll path the Flicker Wisp, and then I'll crack in for 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oop. Opponent is diversifying here. I'm obligated to get rid of the Revoker to not give up like a billion jitte counters. And in case I draw another removal spell, I am not going to chump the Flicker Wisp. I had no idea how good jitte was when I started playing Taxes. Yeah. Card's insane. Unfortunately, like, I probably just get... that's rough. And now I'll get ported off of just, like, equipping my Batterskull to a Thopter as well. No, okay. Alright, we are in game 2, right? Yeah, we are in game 2. So I'll go ahead and concede here. That was a really good game. Alright. So, we're in the play there, and we lost. So game 2, lose equipment war slowly despite P and K stalling. Alright, so that was a 4-1 league with wins against Dredge, Grixis Delver, Grixis Delver, Grixis Delver, and a loss to D&T, and a very good D&T player at that. Malamujo is one of the trophy leaders there. Alright, so for the purposes of breaking this into a video, I'm going to pause the stream for about 30 seconds, run to the restroom, and then start up the stream again, and we're going to run another league. So I will be right back.